Me and my friend Billy were very passionate about making music. We complemented each other as musicians. You see, I was good at writing the songs, and I was also quite good at singing as well. Billy, on the other hand, very talented pianist. Very good on a keyboard, very good at, coming up with the tunes and the songs, the sounds in the background. He was absolutely brilliant at that kind of thing. And, we made a lot of good music together. Eventually, we formed a little band, and we played our music across the country, and, in hotels and in pubs and for weddings and all that kind of thing. And it was quite good. We made a little bit of money here and there, Nothing amazing, but it was good. It was something fun to do, when you had a day off of work. But one day, when we were playing at the White Hart Inn, there was a very successful, very wealthy music producer who was present among the crowd, and he was there, watching and listening to us. His name was Francis Romer, a very, very, very successful and well-known French producer. And he watched us, me and Billy, as we made our music, and he loved it. And after a few drinks, he said to us, "Would you like to come around to my studio tomorrow, play some music?" He gave us his card with the address of his studio written on it, and me and Billy didn't know what to say. I mean, this was a brilliant opportunity that had landed in our laps. This was a chance. This guy, Francis, he was a professional. I mean, he was a big guy in the music industry, and he was giving us this great chance to get our music out there into the mainstream. I said to Francis, Billy was drunk and was on the floor at the time. I said to Francis, "Look, this is great. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's do this. Let's do this." And Francis was like, "I will see you tomorrow then." And he left in his limousine, and we didn't see him again for that evening. Billy had to sober up. I said, "Billy, get home, get suited and booted. We gotta look smart. We gotta look smart and sharp for this, because we can't mess this up. This Francis guy, he's got a good deal for us. We gotta look the part. So, sober up, man. Whatever, do what you need to do. Drink a gallon of water, 5 cups of coffee. I don't care. Just get yourself together. We've got to win this." And so I got into my best suit, and I made my way over to the studio, and I waited for Billy, and he turned up. And when he got out of the car, I couldn't believe it. He had sobered up by now. It was hard to believe that he'd been drunk the other day. He looked completely fine, physically, but he was wearing this most ridiculous, most awful hat I've ever seen. It was, how do I describe it? It was huge. It looked like a blanket almost, and he just stuffed, like he was wearing his duvet on his head. It was huge. It had these great sort of plumes and wings coming out of it. A huge peacock feather that flowed right out over the front. It looked disgusting. And I said, "Billy, what are you doing wearing this hat? We're about to have an interview with a famous, prominent music producer. They're not going to take you seriously." And he looked at me, and he said, he looked at me, and he said, "Well, it's just my hat. What's wrong with my hat? What have you got against my hat?" And I said, "Billy, it looks terrible. Francis is not going to take us seriously if you walk in there wearing that thing. Now take it off." And Billy was like, "No, it's a free country. I'm going to wear this hat." And yeah, I couldn't convince him. I could not convince him to take the hat off. and when Billy's got his mind made up, that's it, I tell you. There's nothing that can stop him. And so, well, we walked into the studio, and Francis was there with his people, these posh bunch of, like, you know, clean-cut looking people, you know, big people in the industry, real smart, posh, you know, wealthy, and, you know, they took their job seriously. And I can only imagine what they thought when they saw Billy with this stupid hat. They must have thought we were a bunch of jokers, a bunch of clowns, taking the mick out of them, wasting their time. They really must have. And I could see Francis. He looked unimpressed. Well, of course. Billy was wearing this duvet on his head. I mean, of course he's going to look unimpressed. He's like, I give you this great opportunity and you take the mick out of me. So Billy stood there and he said, what's next? And Francis looked at him and said, are you taking this seriously? Are you taking this seriously? And Billy said to him, looked at him right in the eye, and he said, damn right I'm taking this seriously. Now, get me to a keyboard and I'll show you what music is. And then Billy just stepped up to the keyboard and he threw himself right into the middle of it. Honestly, he was like this. He was completely out of control. There was nothing I could do to stop him. It was that bad, honestly. It was a catastrophe. Everyone looked so miserable. I think it was one of the most embarrassing moments in my life. Yes, and Billy still hadn't taken off the hat. And when Billy had finished, he stood there and, he said, well, what do you think? And Francis looked at us and he said, you're fired.